you ever wondered how to find the area of a leaf, a cloud, or even an island on a map? Unlike rectangles or circles, these irregular shapes don't have a simple formula. But don't worry, there's a clever way to measure them. In this video, we'll explore the graph paper method, a practical technique used by scientists and mapmakers alike. Let's dive in and discover how you can measure the area of any flat, irregular shape with just a few easy steps. Regular shapes are everywhere in our daily lives. Think about the outline of a leaf, the shape of a cloud, or the winding borders of a country on a map. These shapes don't fit into neat categories like squares or circles, but knowing their area is important in science, geography, and even art. That's why learning a reliable method to measure them is so valuable. Let's see how graph paper can help us tackle this challenge. Graph paper method is a simple yet powerful tool for measuring irregular areas. All you need is a piece of graph paper and the shape you want to measure. This method breaks down the complex outline into manageable squares, making it much easier to estimate the total area. It's a favorite among students, teachers, and professionals who need quick, accurate results. Start by placing your irregular shape, like a leaf or a cutout, on top of the graph paper. Carefully trace around the edges with a pencil. This outline will help you see exactly which squares are inside the shape and which are only partially covered. Make sure your tracing is as accurate as possible for the best results. Now look at your traced shape and count all the squares that are completely inside the outline. These are called whole squares. Write down the total number. This will be your M value in the formula. Counting whole squares gives you a solid starting point for your area calculation. Next, identify the squares that are more than half covered by your shape but not completely filled. These are your N squares. They contribute significantly to the area, so count them carefully. This step helps you capture the parts of the shape that don't fit neatly into full squares. Now look for squares that are about half covered by the shape. These are your P squares. Estimating half squares can be a bit tricky, but try to be as precise as possible. These contribute less to the total area, but they still matter for an accurate measurement. Finally, count the squares that are less than half covered by the shape. These are your Q squares. Even though they contribute the least, including them ensures your area calculation is as complete as possible. Add up all the Q squares and get ready to use the formula. Now it's time to put all your counts together. The formula for the area is area equals M plus 3/4 N plus a half P plus a quarter Q. This means you add the number of whole squares, 3/4 of the more than half squares, half of the half squares, and a quarter of the less than half squares. This weighted approach gives you a close estimate of the true area. Let's try an example. Suppose you counted M equals 20 whole squares, N equals 8 more than half squares, P equals 4 half squares, and Q equals 6 less than half squares. Plug these into the formula. Area equals 20 plus 3 times 8 plus a times 4 plus a times 6. That's 20 plus 6 plus 2 plus 1.5, which equals 29.5 square centimeters. This method gives you a practical, easy-to-understand result. The graph paper method works because it breaks down a complicated shape into smaller, manageable pieces. By estimating how much of each square is covered, you get a much more accurate area than just guessing. This approach is widely used in science and geography for its simplicity and reliability. This method isn't just for classroom exercises. Cartographers use it to measure land areas on maps, and biologists use it to study the growth of leaves and other natural forms. Artists and designers also rely on this technique when working with unusual shapes. It's a versatile tool that comes in handy in many fields. To get the best results, use graph paper with smaller squares for more detailed shapes. Take your time when tracing and counting, and double-check your work. If you're working with a very large or very small shape, adjust the scale of your graph paper accordingly. These small steps can make a big difference in your final answer. While the graph paper method is perfect for flat, two-dimensional shapes, it's not suitable for three-dimensional objects. For those, you'll need different techniques, but for anything you can lay flat like leaves, handprints, or islands, this method is both quick and effective. Now you know how to measure the area of any irregular, flat shape using the graph paper method. Just trace, count, and apply the formula. This skill is useful in science, geography, and everyday life. Try it out with different objects and see how accurate you can get. With practice, you'll become an expert at estimating areas no matter the shape.